Well, hello everybody. Hello chats. Hi kids. Welcome to another episode of The Abyss by your host, The Eternal Abyss, which is me. Oh, hold up. Let me make Lookner shut up here for a second because I have another stream running that I was listening to. Okay. So, let me make sure that my levels are good. Everybody can hear me okay, I'm assuming. Let me raise my gain just a touch. There we are. I think that's good. So I don't have to yell or anything. I can speak in a normal speaking voice. There we are. I want to say hello to everybody on bitwave.tv first and foremost. I also want to greet everyone on dlive.tv, periscope.tv, YouTube, and Twitch, since I am streaming there as well. I haven't really been doing the morning streams as I mentioned, and I haven't really been doing a whole lot because of this whole pandemic coronavirus we're all gonna die thing. I skipped my last stream because I was getting things situated, getting myself all transitioned for work from home. It was a lot of crazy stuff. So it's been a thing, that's for sure. I've never seen the United States just go as crazy as it is, and there's a lot of conspiratorial thoughts about that and nonsense that I've heard, and there's other things like that. But before we get into the show, I have to do some shilling, of course. Please follow and subscribe and hit the little notification bell on YouTube and other platforms. Share, follow, subscribe on all the streaming platforms that I'm on. Make sure you also follow me on Twitter, Gab, Minds, and Parler or Parlay. I still don't know how that's pronounced, so whatever. So I'm going to, just promote that a little bit. So folks can be kept up to date on any schedule changes and things of that nature. So, because especially when you have a situation like this with pandemics and works things changing and all sorts of craziness of that nature, there's going to be some changes to my schedule and how often or less often I can do something. So, let's see. Trainwave says, "Oh no, Abyss is non-essential and doesn't have Nazi work papers that let him out." Nope, I don't have any papers. No, sir. Uh, I'm quarantined as well, so to speak. So womp womp. And there were some other things I was hoping to talk about. I was hoping there'd be more stuff in the news besides coronavirus, but that's all that you hear in the news. That's all. You look at Daily Mail's front page, it used to have all sorts of stuff. A lot of it was politics, but it had to do it had a slew of things. And now you look at it and there's all of it is coronavirus. All of it is the woo flu. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy what's happening with the media, and it's on one side, it's kind of a necessity. I've said on the streams before, and I've said on Twitter as well, that I think there's a lot of hyperbole. I think there's a lot of hysteria that is stoked by the media. Hi, Godspeed. I do usually towards the end of my stream. I don't do it at the beginning. But if you guys can convince Lookner to get on my stream, I can definitely set him straight because he's way off in his quote-unquote reporting. For those unfamiliar with Lookner, he is an individual that streams. I guess he streams on YouTube. It's not going to make my show worse. My show's bad enough. There's very few things that can make it worse, I think. Unless I put some very disgusting imagery on my stream. I think that's the only would love to see if he would even be willing to do that, because he's just going off the rails on this stuff. And I'm not saying there's no room for criticism of anybody in any scenario. I've always been a firm believer that anybody can, if there's legitimate criticisms to lay on the feet of someone, sure, do so. But if you're just going off on rants and talking about stuff that just goes into your bias, whatever that bias may be, like I heard just him rant for, I don't know, 2 minutes straight about how Trump was screwing this whole up completely. No, he hasn't. And we'll talk a little bit about that, actually. There's been a lot of criticisms from the media, a lot of stupid questions from the media, and a lot of lack of focus from the media. And essentially, the media has not helped this situation in any shape, way, or form. All they've done is actually made things worse, in my opinion. What they've done is create a level of hysteria and a level of hyperbole that has caused a panic. It has caused a panic. People are freaking out. They're focusing on the wrong things, like the fact that Trump called the coronavirus the Chinese virus. Oh my God. The media was having a woke meltdown, literally shaking. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ludicrous to hear that during a time where people are getting sick and dying, people were sick and dying. Their thought was, oh, don't be racist. And even today, I listened to the presser, and there was this Asian reporter. I don't know from what outlet he was. I don't know if it's a foreign outlet or a national outlet. And this guy even today was saying, oh, what do you say about the hate crimes that are happening against the Asian Americans? What hate crimes? What hate crimes? I haven't heard a single report of a hate crime. I have not heard a single report of a crime towards Asians that were motivated by their race and the fact that the virus came from China. Can someone give me any evidence of this? Because if you can, I'll say, okay, at least you have one reported case. There was one case. I heard something about some black people that beat up an Asian guy in New York, I think. Okay, whatever. Where's the evidence that this was hate motivated? Where's the evidence that this was the motivation was their ethnicity? Where's the evidence that this was motivated by the fact that Trump said that the virus came from China? Or even let's be even more granular. Where's the evidence that the fact that the virus came from China, Trump said it was from China because he was telling the truth, and that the media was stoking racial tensions based off of that? And then they attacked him for that reason. Yes, sir. I also do the Eternal Gamer. I do that as well. That's my non-political stuff. And recently, Scout, I've been playing Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. And I may do that tonight, actually, after the show. We may have a little gaming session after the show if I'm not too tired. We'll see. We'll see. But I have streamed FIFA before, so I'm responding to chat in the middle of this whole diatribe. So basically, the media has not served the country at all. They have not been doing anything to really help and keep the populace calm. I'm not saying that the media shouldn't tell the truth, shouldn't report on things. And should be asking questions, should be seeking out information. I'm not saying that the media shouldn't be reporting stuff, but there's a difference between reporting stuff that's happening, reporting the numbers, reporting the facts, and going into a ridiculous diatribe and just accusing people of being racist. And not just that, even social media was doing this. But it's ridiculous that they were doing this when this outbreak was just starting, and even like I said, still today they're doing this. This sort of stuff has to stop. This is the stuff that really does harm to our nation. And you had people like Lookner, who does his who tweets live. That's basically his stream. He tweets. He just, you see him typing his tweets. I don't understand that. I don't get that at all. But essentially, he was saying nonsense like what was he saying? I was gonna comment that it just slipped my mind for a second here. I don't know if it'll come back to me. Very professional show, as you can see. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh my god, it's been a long day, and it's been a long week. That's for sure. I'm not gonna lie. But you have the media just they've lost their minds. Frankly, they've pretty much done a disservice to the American people. And then on the other side of that coin, you have a lot of people who are not only really suffering by the virus, because really our numbers, if you look at our population and you look at the number of people that survive and the death rate that we have in the United States, our death rate is relatively low. The media today just came out. It just came out today that we quote unquote surpassed China in numbers of coronavirus cases. I mean, maybe. I don't know if that's actually true, because we surpassed China, and they're saying that we're the problem with that statement is that with China, you can't really trust the information and the numbers that are coming out of there. There's been reports that China's just stopped testing. Basically, they're not even looking at any further numbers if they have them. People who have, there's also reports that I don't know if these are true. These are things that have been reported from people who are there on the ground, apparently. That people that are sick with the coronavirus and they are like at death's door, China isn't even bothering to try and help them, and they're just bringing them directly to the incinerator. There's been apparently 1 million or close to 1 million cell phone numbers that have been returned to the service providers, and like like ground lines, like the combination of ground lines and cell phone numbers. Why would nearly 1 million people cancel their phone? That's suspicious right there. And that's what I mean about, there's a lot of conspiratorial stuff that's going around because of the coronavirus thing. But the problem with that kind of that kind of conspiratorial stuff, the problem is when you're dealing with China, holy crap, it can be true. It can be true. So if they're throwing people into incinerators and they're not reporting accurately on their numbers, then you have the media gleefully cheering over the fact that I just saw your message on YouTube, Trainwave. Bitwave is for nerds. Maybe, I don't know. But what was I gonna say? You made me lose my train of thoughts. Damn you. No, but what I was saying is that if this information is conspiratorial and it's talking about China, there's a good chance it's true, and that's freaking scary. And then you have reporters. That's what I was gonna say. You have reporters that have glee and are gleefully reporting on the fact that we've surpassed China in our numbers. That's how bad the Trump administration is handling things. But the funny thing is this, though: if you actually poll people about how they view the handling of the pandemic, 60% of Americans approve of Trump's handling. 50%, 60% of Americans approve of Pence and the task force handling of it. So there you have it. You have so much contradictory information. And that's another thing, G. Gallon. Yes, thanks for mentioning that. What about all the bug people all over all over the world being caught spitting on things and spraying corona? Well, you know what happens? You know what happened recently? I saw this news report today. Pennsylvania, a lady was arrested because she was intentionally coughing on stuff. Here in the United States, I don't know who she is, what she is, if there's any ethnicity involved in here, but a supermarket had to destroy $35,000 worth of groceries. $35,000 worth of groceries because this lady intentionally coughed in Pennsylvania. I mean, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing that people would do that. Then you have people blaming Trump because they ate fish tank cleaner. Well, G. Gallon says seems like terrorism. Technically, that is kind of a bioterroristic attack in a way. I mean, if you're throwing a biological agent to try and get more people sick, technically, that's a biological attack. You wonder if they're being given direction from the CCP. I don't know. I don't know what race she was, Trainwave. I don't know. I haven't read too much details about that report, and I don't know if they even reported on that. So, who knows? If I find more information about that or updates, then I can probably try and key in a little bit more on that and see if I can find some information. But as of now, I really don't know much of the details of the perpetrator. Well, G. Gallon says it seems China would rather have bigger numbers and perhaps direct its agents to go out and spread corona. I don't know. I mean, I don't think China would have an issue if we have bigger numbers. The difference between us and China, though, is that even if we have bigger numbers, our death rate is still much smaller because we have much better health care. So that's the positive thing that's coming out of it. And then you had also Dr. Deborah Birx on the task force, who was setting the record straight in many scenarios here, in many cases, because the media was reporting in New York there's a shortage of beds and ventilators, and there were thousands available. I think there was an actual 1,000 or so available, and she's like, no, there's no shortage. And the other positive thing that's come out of New York, since we're talking about New York, is that for the past 3-4 days, you've seen a consistent number of people who have caught the bug, so to speak, which means that curve is flattening in New York. And being that New York is the hardest hit place, that's a positive sign. In fact, along with those signs that are coming in, and we see the stimulus being passed, and don't get me started on that, because I will actually talk about this too. And that makes my blood boil. That really makes my blood boil when I was reading about what was going on with this whole stimulus, this bill, the relief bill, essentially. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. But there's positive news coming out of DC because the Senate passed their version of the bill. Now we got to wait on the House. So, and it seems like within 3 weeks or so, if all things go well, people should be getting some money and businesses should be getting some relief and help. So there's reasons for being positive. There's reasons for that. And you see that in the markets. The markets are bouncing back. We have bull numbers right now. We had like today alone, we had 1,300. The Dow was up 1,300. So, and we'll talk a little bit about the markets and the economy as well, because a lot of people on the left are bouncing on here saying, "Oh, we're going to go into a recession now, or even possibly a depression." And of course, they're going to try and blame Trump for it, because why not? They blame him for everything. So why not? They're just going to blame him. But about the relief bill, on my title, I put Democrats traitors, and there's a reason for that. So they had this deal. They had a deal almost all worked out. Things were all positive. Things were working well. Pelosi flies in on a red-eye flight and starts pushing all this Green New Deal garbage, all this lefty garbage, all this crap and pork into the relief bill, and completely destroys the whole thing. While people are demanding some assistance and wanting help, this is what Pelosi and the Democrats do. And stuff in there that she was throwing in there. It's like the $15 minimum wage. Companies had to have a worker on the board. And there were provisions about diversity quotas and worker representation on the boards and all this kind of stuff post this pandemic. Like for 2 years or 3 years, if they got this assistance, they were basically beholden to the government for all these rules and regulations. For example, it's pure insanity. Pure insanity. And what's worse is that she goes up on the microphone and in the interviews and she lies. Just straight out lies. Saying, "Oh, nothing that I proposed was like everything that I proposed was related to coronavirus. Things that were in there was nothing in there that was not coronavirus related." So the stuff that like people like myself are quote unquote claiming that are not coronavirus related, apparently we're just out of our minds. Hey Troll 5 UXB, maybe. He says if Abyss is at home, then that means he will stream all week. I did start a morning show, and I was doing it very early in the morning, and I am not a morning person. So we'll talk a little bit about the scheduling towards the end of the stream, because I do want to address that, because I am still trying to figure out a best schedule for me. So I'm gonna see what I can do regarding that. But let's go back to what's going on here with that relief bill. So you have Pelosi, and Schumer was in on this as well on the Senate side. He and Pelosi basically destroyed any chances of a deal. Now finally, after so much criticism and pushback, and even the media, their darling media outlets are actually hammering Pelosi on this, going, "You're screwed up." She backed off of a lot of stuff, but there's still garbage in there. There's still garbage in that relief package that were injected by the Democrats, like $350 million, I think, for assistance for migrants. Why? Again, why? That money could be much better used for Americans. This is ridiculous. There was like $25 million or $24 million for the Kennedy Center for the Arts. Again, why? Why is that necessary? Okay, they employ like I think 3,000 people. Okay, I guess they have a contribution to the arts. Okay, being shut down for a month isn't going to kill them. They're non-essential. Let's be honest here. Let's be pragmatic. They're not essential. There's no reason this has to go to them. But it's a Democrat thing. In fact, Trump said you got to give them something. You got to give them something, to get the deal through. Okay, fine, I get that, but that's just ridiculous in my book. I think it's stupid. So this really opens up the eyes of people, though. I mean, the comments that I've seen, when it comes coming out of Pelosi and coming out of Schumer, coming out of like the Kennedy Center, they've been ratioed up the ass, basically. Oh my god, the comments, scathing and burning comments, absolutely scathing and burning. It's I that's Troll 5UXB says he's going to line item veto anything that's not related to Corona. I sincerely hope he does. I sincerely hope President Trump does that. He should. He absolutely should. That money needs to go to people who need it. It needs to go to businesses. It needs to go to individuals. It needs to go to professionals working out of their home. It needs to go to families and with kids. It needs to go to people that require some assistance during this hard time. Okay? This is a very, very temporary situation we're in, and it's a very, very rough situation that we're in, although temporary. So I do hope that he does some line item vetoes, and I do hope that this thing gets situated quick, because it's I agree with Trump that we want to try and get things up and running again. We should. That should be the end goal. We should try and move things quickly as much as possible. Try and contain things quickly as much as possible. Dragging things out and causing this to spread and create more chaos is not going to help anybody. So I think that the way things have been handled right now, I don't really see any other scenario, in the sense that I don't see any other way that this could have gone down in terms of trying to contain this, except for individual states where, like, with governors and mayors, where they themselves have caused more problems than have helped. Either because they haven't done the right thing presently, or they didn't do the right thing in the past. Take Governor Cuomo, for example. Governor Cuomo had the opportunity to have 16,000 extra ventilators in 2015 for a very low price, and he refused. He refused. So now they say, they need more ventilators. Okay, fine. Well, you had the chance to restock your pile. Why didn't you? Why didn't you, Cuomo? Then you have De Blasio, who keeps just making the situation worse because this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He didn't even act on it initially. He had staff had to threaten to quit in a memo for him to finally act. And it seems like New York in general, from all reports coming in, has been slow to respond to this thing. They were slow to respond to it. And New York has 8 million people in population. It's a very densely packed city. As soon as something like this, like the whiff of this, comes along, all the administration and leadership in New York City and state should have jumped on this immediately. And let's not even talk about the pandemic. Let's talk about just flu and cleanliness in general. In any city, I'm not even talking about New York at this point. I'm talking about any city. If you have a densely packed concentration of population, you need to be on top of the cleanliness of your city, because that's how flus and viruses and diseases and rats and mice and cockroaches spread, pestilence and all that kind of stuff. You have to be on top of that. Some urban areas do better than others on it. it's a shame. You know, it's a shame that cities like Chicago are the mess that they are, and not talking too much about corona numbers in Chicago, but more just in general. Chicago has been a mess for a very long time. Uh, New York is a mess. Detroit is a mess. Dallas, it's okay. It's actually pretty clean, but it's not a very big urban center like the other cities. Los Angeles and was it Santa Barbara? No, San Diego. Where they have human feces on the ground. I mean, this is ludicrous. You had the plague coming back in California before you actually had this coronavirus pandemic. So on top of the plague, you got the woo flu. You know, whatever. You know, California is just, oh goodness, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So I do want to just tell people. I guess the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to the coronavirus thing is actually um, has more to do with the fact that everybody is kind of locked in. They're a little bit stir crazy. There's a lot of stress out there. Tensions are running high. In many cases, it's not easy to work from a home when you're trying to do certain things that you're used to working in an office, for example. So there's a lot of people that, whether they're out of work or working from home, or they're dealing with having to be around family, and or even if all the time, or if they're even just in isolation all the time, and they're very social people, they're not used to that. Um, it's a tough situation, and I want people out there to know, no matter how stir crazy stressed you get, keep in mind, obviously you're not alone. A lot of people are suffering with you. Misery loves company. Okay. I know it's not an enjoyable situation. I completely understand that. However, I would suggest to everybody, this is a temporary situation. This isn't going to endure indefinitely. Eventually, the numbers will go down. Eventually, our economy will start picking up even more so. Eventually, businesses will reopen. People that have lost their jobs, when things reopen, guess what? They're going to need people. They're going to need people. And you're going to get a lot of the jobs are going to come back. We're going to get some positive numbers soon, I hope. So I still remain firm in my belief that this is temporary, that I still feel that the media is blowing things way out of proportion. I'm not downplaying the virus. I do believe that people need to take it seriously, but at the same time, I do believe that people don't need to go crazy over it. And I do think people need to just not moving forward, not just during this pandemic, moving forward, have some consideration, in the sense that, be self-aware. One of the biggest issues that I have is that people don't seem to be really self-aware of what they're doing, or what they're touching, or if they're sneezing or coughing, or what they're doing. You know, it's very easy to spread germs, and just if things like this happen, to spread it around. It's very easy to do that. So I would recommend that, even afterwards, maybe it's not a bad idea, and to not necessarily. For example, I know Trump and some other people are saying we should stop shaking hands altogether, no matter what. I say, not necessarily that, but just be aware. If you shake someone's hand, bring some hand sanitizer with you. If someone shakes my hand and then they use hand sanitizer, guess what? I'm not offended at all. I'm not insulted, because I do the same. So I would recommend to people just be more aware, like turn yourselves a little bit into a germaphobe in that sense. Um, so that's what I would recommend, and I would also recommend, since we're doing everything online so much now because of this pandemic, I think that be aware, be aware of what you're doing with your camera. I've seen some very funny and interesting videos of, like, there was this Zoom meeting that some company was having, and one lady goes to the toilet during the meeting, and she just puts the laptop down and basically shows everybody everything. So it was terrible, and she realized it pretty quick, and she just turns it so nobody's looking at her. But guess what? You can still hear. So I don't know if that was any better, but at least she changed the visual on that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. So be aware is basically the best advice you could give anybody in this scenario. Just be aware of everything that's around you. Be aware of the cleanliness, what you do, what you spread, things like that. And parents, be aware of your children. One thing that drove me crazy even before this whole pandemic thing was when I would see kids going in stores and touching everything and then putting their fist in their mouths and all this kind of stuff, and it's like absolutely disgusting. So where's Alex Jones? I need a pickle Joe. I don't know where Alex Jones is. So moving on to the kind of last bit here, one thing, actually, let me check my Discord real quick because, okay, I didn't know if anybody was in the waiting room in case they wanted to kind of chime in. I may end the stream pretty soon here. One thing that I just wanted to mention was about the scheduling. As you all saw, I missed my stream last week, but I am doing it now. Excuse me. And excuse me, pardon me. I'm koofing. And I wanted to see if I could do a morning stream or a daily stream. Right now that I'm working from home, actually a daily stream may be doable. I would still keep it short and sweet because I don't want to spend too much time every day streaming. I koofed, yeah. I did train wave. But I'm quarantined. I'm all by myself, so it's okay. So I don't know. I'm open to suggestions for times that people would think would be good for a daily thing. For the weekly thing, I'm not changing my weekly stream. I do like Thursday at between 7:30 and 8. I think that's a good time for me. I think it's a good time for other people. I still wouldn't stream on the weekends, but I definitely think a daily show is still doable. I just have to find the right time because I also work from home, so I have to be considerate of work hours. And not only for myself, I want to be also considerate of work hours for other people. Because I'm not the only one working from home, obviously. Other people are working from home and they still have their 9 to 5 even though they're home. So I think it would be beneficial to find a time that maybe works best. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a midnight stream or something like that. I mean, I do stay up late all the time. Maybe it's worth doing a midnight stream. I don't know. But I'll think about it. I'll play around with that. We'll experiment a little bit. And please follow the social media because that's where I'm going to post the times. If you don't follow, you won't know. So please follow me on Twitter, on Parler, whatever, minds.com, Gab. And don't forget to also follow on the different streaming platforms that I'm on because you'll get notified when I'm live. So please please join in and share, subscribe. And if you do want to support, and I know it's difficult during this time because many people aren't working, and I do want to support other people as well. But if you want to support this stream, especially conservative streams, because we're being shut down by media and big tech, we're being censored left and right, please, please very much go to streamlabs.com/theeternalabyss, and any level of generosity is greatly appreciated. And I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank everybody for following the guidelines. You know, a lot of people, it's kind of amazing actually to see how unified Americans can be in these times. And it's inspiring, actually. It's inspiring because it was kind of like when 9/11 happened, actually. There was a sense of we're Americans. It wasn't Democrat, it wasn't Republican. It was we're Americans. And what the... How the heck did that kick on? Something kicked on. I don't know what happened. The stream, when I was listening to Steve Lookner, and I thought I had turned that off, and all of a sudden it kicked on, and I could hear it in my head. It's muted on the computer here, so you guys can't hear it, but that was weird. Okay. But anyways, so I hope everyone enjoyed this stream. I'm not going to be on too much longer. I've already been streaming for about 46 minutes. This is going to be a little bit shorter than my usual episodes. Usually I stream for at least an hour or so. But I want to keep this short and sweet. And next Thursday, hopefully, we could talk about something that's not coronavirus related. I can't promise you anything, but let's see what we can do. And again, I'll post my scheduling soon. I'm working through that right now. So I'm going to wish everyone a good night, and I want to thank everybody once again for watching. Thank you.